Greetings to everyone. My name is David Triana, and I am the president of Conexión Media Group. Welcome to our show, Making Connections, the interview show that you can watch through our YouTube channel for Conexión. And we also link it and share it through our social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and others. Making Connections is a product of Conexión Media Group. Conexión Media Group also publishes the monthly online publication called Conexión. It's an English and Spanish publication that we produce every month. Go to conexionflorida.com so you can watch or so you can read the Conexión online publication. Or our company also organizes regional um, business networking socials. Lastly, we also conduct and organize and support multicultural events throughout the region, such as the International Festival in Fort Walton Beach. I am here with my co-host, Kismet Melendez, joining us from Mobile, Alabama. How are you doing, Kismet? ¿Cómo estás?
Fine, and you? Ready for
Great.
summer?
I know. We're in the summer now. A lot of activities taking place throughout the region. We're going to talk about some of those during our upcoming events. But I'm glad that you are joining us, Kismet, from Mobile. ¿Y cómo va todo por allá en Mobile? ¿Cómo va la cosa?
Pues todo súper chévere, aquí ya organizando para el super festival que siempre tenemos todos los años, el Mobile Latin Fest, y estoy lista para que llegue el verano para sentirme en móvil como si estuviera en mi isla tropical, Puerto Rico en el encanto. Que llegue el
Excelente.
sol, tú sabes, y poder visitar esa costa tan bonita, la
Claro que
Esmeralda que
sí.
tú tienes allá del
Hace
otro
tiempo que no
lado.
vienes, a ver si a ver si puedes venir el 24, el 25 de junio, o si no, pues en agosto cuando estemos en Pensacola, que es un poquito más cerca de ti. Tenemos un excelente programa, tenemos una entrevista con Christy Solomon. Ella es una empresaria aquí en la región. Su empresa se llama Elevate Next. Christy is going to be our guest today for the interview, which will be coming back to here in about a minute. Entonces vamos a volver en un minuto con nuestra entrevista con Christy Solomon of Elevate Next. Nos vemos en un minuto.
Nos vemos.
Do you want to advertise to thousands of Hispanics and non-Hispanics in Northwest Florida, and Southern Alabama?
¿Quieres promover tu empresa y producto a miles de hispanos y no hispanos?
Connection is your most cost-efficient way to do so.
Conexión es tu solución.
Conexión is your bridge to connect you to the growing Hispanic market in the region. Call us.
Llámanos.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam! See it. Hear it. You fans, get loud! Feel it. Experience it live. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Pensacola Bay Center July 25th and 26th. Brought to you by BKT Tires and your local Ford dealers. Tickets on sale now.
We are back for our interview, and we have our guest is Christy Solomon. Christy Solomon is the founder of Elevate Next, and she's joining us from her home, obviously. How are you doing, Christy?
Good, buenos dias. Good morning.
Buenos días, buenos días. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Thank you very much for being with us here in Making
you.
Connections. You are one of the contributors to our Conexión Online, so some people may have already read about who you are and some of your bio, but most people probably have not because they have not seen you in Conexión's Making Connection or Conexión Media Group's Making Connections show. So let's start by you, Christy Solomon, telling us about you, Christy.
I moved to Destin. That's where I'm based, Destin, Florida, about 8 or 9 years ago, I think. I'm originally from St. Louis, and I came this way, and at the time I was working remotely and thought the area would be a nice place to work remotely. And I ended up finding a dog, a rescue dog, and stayed here.
Oh, so you found a rescue dog and loved him and loved the water and all the stuff that we have in the
Yes.
Emerald Coast and said, I'm staying because St. Louis is not as nice. Is that basically what?
Yeah, no, I came, I think I lived in Spain for 3 years and I came back to St. Louis in the winter in December. And
Oh,
after being on the Mediterranean, I thought, oh, this is very dark and cold and depressing. So
yes.
I
And
was,
I also, go ahead.
no, I was just looking, I decided I needed to be by the water again.
I bet. Yes, and we have some of the most beautiful waters, I guess, here in the U.S. for sure, and comparable to many other beautiful locations throughout the world here in the Emerald Coast, as you might know, because you've been all
Definitely.
throughout the world too, is what I understand, correct? You've been to many places. You just mentioned a couple of them. Tell us about the fact that you speak español, porque hablas muy bien español, según lo que hemos
Gracias.
aprendido. ¿Y cómo fue que aprendiste español? How did you learn it?
Um, Aprendí en la escuela secundaria in San Luis. I learned in secondary school or high school in the United States. My first instructor had learned Spanish in Mexico. And then I continued on in college and did a study abroad in Chile. And I lived in Viña del Mar and went to the Catholic University in Valparaiso and just continued with my Spanish. My father is Argentine. And originally I studied in Chile and not Argentina because he was a little worried about the economic situation in Argentina in the early 2000s, and assumed that it'd be a little bit safer in Chile and I could still visit my grandmother in Argentina, which
Oh,
I
wow.
did.
Tenemos obviamente nosotros con Kismet alguna pregunta a Christy Kismet acerca de su vida personal o algo que quisieras que la gente sepa.
Cristi, mientras estuviste en todos esos países, ¿verdad? Y tener la oportunidad de aprender un nuevo idioma, como que es el español, ¿qué fue lo más que te gusta entre todas esas culturas?
Oh, definitivamente la gente. Bueno, las vistas también, pero la cultura y son culturas muy sociales. Así que cada noche hay algo para hacer y una cena o una fiesta o algo así. Y es muy diferente
Sí,
que la cultura estadounidense.
sí,
Definitiva.
sí, definitivo. Siempre es día de fiesta si es necesario, ¿verdad?
Sí, sí.
Excelente. Oh, well, thank you very much for telling us about you. Now let's get into the business part of things, because obviously you have a master's in business administration in international business. You have 15 years of experience in project and product management, mergers, acquisitions, and many other things. So let's talk about you, the business person, because you do have a company. It's called Elevate Next. So tell us about Elevate Next and some of these services that you offer.
Well, I think I worked in mostly in animal agriculture and then fertilizer, but still in agriculture for international companies for about 10 years.
Hmm.
And I had always thought about starting my own business. And right around the time that I moved here to the coast, the opportunity presented itself to kind of pivot. And I thought that even though my background was focused on agriculture, the basic business principles I could leverage to support small businesses and nonprofits. And so I thought that having a broad background would be helpful for clients that I work with. And so, but I think of all the things I've done, and I still use all the same skill sets, but I think that marketing and the creative aspects of developing a strategy or public relations campaign for a client is my favorite.
Uh-huh.
And so at Elevate Next, the name came from and it's probably too commonly used, but the idea was to elevate your business to the next level. And so
Wow.
the basic foundation of doing that is establishing your identity, but, a website, a social media presence, kind of organizing all the things that communicate what your business does and who you serve. So that's sort of how I get to know all the clients, I guess.
Pero una de las cosas que quería platicar, one of the things that I wanted to also talk to you about, Christy, is it's a tough economy, bottom line. Especially for the business community on the Hispanic side of the house. There's a lot of things going on that have negatively impacted the small business sector and even the medium business sector in the United States on the Hispanic side of the house. I don't want it to be just about Hispanics, the issue, because the issue is affecting everybody. But most definitely,
Right.
the Hispanic community has been negatively affected by the policies, of the administration and many of the things that are going on with the immigrant community, and all those things have created a negative environment per se. More importantly, many small businesses that not rely on, but that serve those that are being affected greatly by the policies have struggled. Businesses like restaurants, businesses like small stores, some businesses that support the other parts of the economy, like the tourism economy and others. Those businesses have struggled mightily, construction and all those kind of things. So in these times, resiliency is a hugely important thing for those businesses to hopefully make it through. What type of advice would you have for them, or what do you think about resiliency as an important factor for a business person?
Well, I think that resilience means not giving up, or that if you have, you make a mistake, or, it's more of a learning point than catastrophic failure. And I think that it also requires you to have humility. So, that self awareness or the awareness of your business, to take a look and think, okay, we've hit a little bit of a bump, but how do we kind of reset and become better going forward? And I think that the other component that's really important is how you communicate that to your audience or to your customers. And like, to be as transparent as possible. So, and with the recognition that, the economy is making life more expensive, for businesses and people, like individuals, it's not, oops, sorry. It's not
Fine.
it's something that when you communicate it as a business, your audience or your customers will recognize that you're telling the truth. And,
Uh-huh.
you're, if you do need to pass on the costs, you can explain why and say, this is a fuel surcharge, or
Right.
this is an import tax, or whatever the case is. So it's very transparent to your customers, why you're doing what you're doing, and you're communicating that it's may not be forever. So when things do improve, those cost items that you've highlighted, will maybe go away or be reduced. And I think that earns the company or a brand a lot of goodwill.
Understand. Yes, because it's a tough time right now, and it's across the whole world technically. What's going on,
Yeah.
and more importantly in the United States, which is where we live, the Emerald Coast and others. Yes, there's a lot of struggles going on, and yeah, most definitely resilience is going to be a key. To survive, just like with anybody else, right? A sports person, an athlete or whatever gets injured, he has to come around and do some things to keep going, right?
Well, yeah, and I think that like the recent Olympics, it was so great because like Alyssa Liu, and I know you said she's like one of your favorite Olympians
Yes, she
too,
is.
but that's somebody who burnt out, and thought about leaving her career, and decided, no, I'm going to come back, but on my own terms. And then, I thought that was really powerful. And she did it with grace, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
far she's like communicating what she did to people that are now looking up to her. And so I think that that's, I don't know. I thought that was very inspiring.
Yeah, but and by the way, burnout is one of the big factors there with business people, right? Sometimes when we go into a business of some sort and whatever, if we're not prepared for it, or do the a whole study about what we're about to get into, we don't realize that it's probably going to be a 24-hour gig,
Yeah.
24/7, right? As opposed
Yeah.
to, okay, I'm just going to go in there for, whatever time my schedule is or my hours of operation are, and then I'm done. Not, right?
Yeah.
So burnout can be a big deal, a big factor with small business,
It,
because it is a 24 hours and 7 days a week type of thing. And you also have to balance that too. So just like she did, she eventually said, I'm out of here for a little bit, take a break. I'm going to come back on my own terms, and boom, gold medal.
yeah.
Let's go into the marketing part of things. I know you're a digital marketing company. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of stuff out there for us to take advantage of. Some of it is free, some of it is not free. Others, you can go more expensive routes and all that stuff. Uh, you sent me a statement that said, um, marketing when money is tight, and then you added, when costs rise, silence is the most expensive choice. Tell me what you meant by that. I think I do. I know, but tell me what you mean.
Well, I think it goes back to like communicating transparently as a business. So,
Mhm.
one, customers want to know, one, if you are increasing the prices because your operating costs go up, you know, people always notice prices, and thanks to like, the Amazons and all these other um, giant networks, you can price check, or even Google Shopping, you can price check basically everything.
Yes.
Your consumers are smart.
Mhm.
So I think that one, being transparent about why you're increasing the costs and clearly identifying that cost item is impactful. The other thing that's really important to communicate is, what you're doing about reducing your costs. And so the tools that you mentioned, like using artificial intelligence, or even like something as simple as Google Maps to optimize routes. But, these are operational costs that are going up, but your marketing strategy needs to be, okay, well, recognizing that fuel is at a all-time high, in the last 4 years, we're going to schedule our customer visits, if you're a service-based business, differently. So we'll
Mhm.
or redefine our service routes or areas to optimize fuel costs. But that's something you could do on Google Maps, for small business. The other thing is, with artificial intelligence, brainstorming these ideas about how to improve your operations is another really nice tool to have. So, or pulling data for your area, it becomes that much easier, or evaluating your target market in certain areas. But I think that the silence tax is that customers, by being silent, it costs you more than communicating.
I see.
And if you are proactive about communicating, customers or your consumers who are smart will also realize which businesses aren't communicating transparently. And so that automatically gives your business kind of a bump up. And, you know, people may be more loyal or put more trust in your brand as a result.
I understand. One of the things that I've experienced, because we deal with mostly small businesses, when it comes to our company, Conexion Media Group, so
Mhm.
mid-sized businesses and large businesses come out and ask us for support also and pay for advertising. Those guys can afford that. They can afford, the hundreds or thousands sometimes that media costs, publicity. But one of the things that I've found out is that small businesses are really tough to convince them of the importance of advertising and marketing their business. And more often than not, is I think they see the expenses as an expense, which it is, but rather than an investment in their company, because advertising has to be considered in whichever way they want to use, whether it's online, hard copy, or whatever. And it's really tough to convince them that it's necessary because if they're not out there, people
No
don't
one
know
knows.
you
Yeah.
exist, you know. So we have social media. We're going to get into artificial intelligence here, so I'm going to let Kismet come in also. Uh, there's so many things out there that even the smallest business that is out there, whether it's an online business, uh, a brick and mortar little store there, or a restaurant or whatever, that they can use. Social media being a primary one. What do you recommend? What do you recommend for the small business owner that is not able to hire a social media manager that's going to cost, $500,000 or more per month, and or a public relations person because they just cannot afford that type of thing. So, what do you recommend on the social media side of the house? Y Kismet, tú puedes entrar aquí también si quieres. Para ese small business que cannot afford to pay for it, to pay for a person to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm a big fan of outsourcing. Obviously, I may have an agenda, but I think that, for smaller businesses with limited budgets, one, outsourcing to an agency, like a marketing agency or a PR firm, is a more cost-effective option. Also, and you talked about paid advertisements as well. And I think for smaller businesses, especially those that have, brick and mortar, they have an actual physical location. Their strategy needs to combine earned media, communicate through your website, your social media, send press releases to local media about your business updates, especially if there's a good story behind that, but also combine it with advertisements with hyper local media publications that really target your audience. And so, like a couple months ago when you did the media panel with several other
Oh, yeah,
publications in the
Blue
area.
Coast Public Relations Organization, yes.
Yes, yeah, that was a great media panel. But I think that, that was an example of each publication had a hyper local focus. And so one business owner told me that she got I want to say it was like a 10 times return on her investment for advertising. So she paid for a spot, but it immediately paid back plus some in terms of new clients that it brought into her physical location. And so that, I think, combined with kind of the more organic marketing is essential. But it's also important to look at it like if you do invest in paid advertisements, you need to have a longer term view about that payback period. Um,
Exactly. It's not automatic. It doesn't happen right away. That's what a lot of the times, exactly. Those are the conversations that I have with the small business owner. Number one, I said, hey, if you are you reaching out to the Hispanics? If you are, then I am your choice. There's many other choices, I tell them. But if you're going to spend the money in other media outlets that are not focused into that, well, then it might work. You know what I'm saying? But
mhm.
if you have the option for somebody that's focusing on that audience, well, then the chances are probably better. It may or may not work either, but at least that entity is focusing on that part of the community that you are trying to reach. So you got to consider all those things is basically what I'm telling them because yes, you put a billboard out there, maybe it'll be maybe it'll work, maybe it'll not. But if it's not in Spanish and you're trying to reach for the Spanish person, well now you're not using it right. You're not using it correctly and you're paying probably 10 times more, that kind of thing. So yeah, most definitely knowing who to go to, and there's so many varieties, there's so many options, just like with social media, right? There's so many options, and you got to be able to also decipher, is Instagram the best one versus Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, because they have different audiences that they focus on also. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it all like whether or not you're focused on paid and or earned media, you have to know your audience and where they're active, you know, geographically, demographically, and which social platform. And each platform, you've got to kind of tailor your message. You can't just like post the same thing across all of them because it won't
Right.
resonate necessarily. So I think that, you know, each business is so unique, but if you really know who your customers are and the audience you're communicating to, it makes what you communicate where so much easier. I mean, it's easier said than done, but that's like the first step in really knowing or basing your communication strategy. But I also think on another note that's related, it's for social media, it's also being really authentic. And so if you are a brick and mortar business targeting hyper local geographic and demographic groups, you know, videos that are showing your restaurant, your menu, your food, your whatever the case may be, I think that's going to get the most traction. And the other thing too is that people often overlook Google business profiles or your location on Google Maps. And so that's
Yes.
another key, especially if you're a physical location. Even, I mean, every business should have one, but the physical location, you know, that needs to be updated like you would Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and really push people to leave those Google reviews. And
Understand.
that's all, you know, inexpensive. But, you know, having that QR code to leave a Google review at your place of business is key. But the more good reviews you get, the more visibility. And Google, they made a change like a year or so ago, I think, maybe a little bit longer. But now those Google business profiles, you can link your social media accounts to them or add them to your profile. And so now if somebody's searching locally, you know, on Google for your business, it'll also bring in your social media feeds or your like latest posts, which so it's another reason to definitely keep that up to date.
I understand. Kismet, alguna pregunta, algún comentario?
La constancia, ¿verdad? La originalidad en lo que uno hace en la promoción, ¿verdad? Es muy importante.
Yes. Yes. And each business is different. But part of the strategy is determining how often and what types of content you post. Whether it's a podcast, you know, your audience comes to expect the regular messages. So if you're a podcast, it's every Tuesday morning. If it's a video, same thing. But on Mondays, it could be like, you know, some like Thirsty Thursdays or something for a restaurant, but they know that
I
each,
see. Yeah.
you know, so
The
you kind
topics
of
are
develop a
they.
rhythm.
Yeah, they kind of know when to when to watch you or for their whatever their interest might be. Consistency and
Yeah,
scheduling.
which is not this, I mean, you can obviously go off schedule, but it helps to have a little bit of a routine, I think.
Yeah, I understand.
But whether that's posting every day or every other day, that depends on the resources that you have, you know, and what your audience is engaging with. But it is important to look at those statistics for engagements after you make posts, because that will tell you something. But engagements are definitely more important than a simple like. So, and it's always important to reply to reviews, to comments on your posts, and make sure you're always communicating back with your customers.
I understand.
Perfect. Thank you. Voy a necesitar una
You,
orientación.
sí, vamos a entrar al tema rapidito aquí va para cerrar. We're gonna close out the section here by talking about
Okay.
boogeyman and AI, artificial intelligence, inteligencia artificial. Kismet, ¿qué querías preguntarle acerca de inteligencia,
Yo
de
estoy
artificial intelligence?
encantada. Yo apenas
Vamos a hablar
estoy
en español y en
aprendiendo.
inglés.
Is
What?
is It's
Ambos.
learning right now, but it's great. For me, it's great.
But
I
Tell us
like
how do
about
you,
AI, Christine, or
yes.
Christy, and how it is affecting marketing and all those things
Hmm.
that your services do. For example, website design, marketing, and strategy.
Well,
Positive,
that's
negative,
a,
indifferent.
that's a big question. I would say overall it's positive, but it's kind of counterintuitive. But the search generative experience. So like if you've noticed when you make a Google query, it gives you the AI
The
summary
top,
first.
right?
But what that means is that even though it's kind of deprioritizing the website results in a way,
Mhm.
it still means that your website and your social media, everywhere you're present online, is still so important because you're letting the AI crawlers or their engine crawlers learn about you and your business. So, in order to summarize who you are and what you do or what products you have, you need to have information out there that informs these AI bots. um, and so that's one
How
reason
do you do
why.
that? What do
Pardon?
you recommend? What do you recommend for Connection Media Group to do that?
Um,
What do I need to
one.
do to? Because when they're looking for Hispanic publication, Connection comes up first, obviously,
Mhm.
in the Emerald Coast. But what do I need to continue doing with these changes to ensure the Connection Media Group and products making connections, whatever, are come up in that Gemini summary that comes up?
So two things, I guess, but one is to make sure each website hosting platform is different. But the one that I use probably the most is Squarespace. But they have like you can enable
What
or
is it called again?
allow Squarespace.
Squarespace. Okay.
But they have a really good setup for optimizing your site for the older search engines and then also the AI, the search generative engines, but the AI bots. But it's a manual thing you need to turn on to say, yes, it's okay
Oh,
if these bots crawl my website or scrape them for information. So that's one thing that make sure that your site is allowing that and not blocking it. The other thing that I think is helpful, especially for media agencies, and that, you have this beautifully formatted PDF monthly publication, but you're also putting the articles as a page on your website, which is the best of both worlds because you have the the media format that you can look at in a PDF, but you also have it as like an individual website page.
right. Exactly.
So that
Combination.
yeah, so I think, and it just goes back to having, one being enabled for AI crawlers, but also making sure that the content that you want is strategic and publicly available.
Got it.
Um,
Kismet, ¿algo más acerca de AI?
encanta. Bueno, desde que comenzó la tecnología, ¿no? Hay ciertas cosas que son buenas y nos ayudan a adelantarnos, ¿no? Y hay ciertas cosas que no. Entonces, creo que es una buena alternativa, pero también pienso que a veces no nos deja pensar por nosotros mismos, ¿no? Y es bueno pensar, ser creativos, ¿verdad? Por
sí,
nosotros mismos, ser originales, pero seguimos aprendiendo.
sí. Yo uso la inteligencia artificial para hacer brainstorming y investigaciones, para facilitar las investigaciones.
Claro.
Pero mi miedo es que no quiero producir un artículo que, que está escrito por inteligencia
Human.
artificial. Es mi miedo.
Para que no se vaya la originalidad, claro.
Sí, sí, sí.
Sí, sí, porque te deja,
Muy bien.
como dice Kismet,
Interesante.
te deja de pensar a ti mismo, hacer research, estudios y todo eso. Ya, si quieres nada más entrarle ahí, pum, 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 haz esto y, ¡pish!
Sí,
Y
sí.
sale y no trabajaste nada. No hiciste esfuerzo tú mismo. That's the danger of it, I think, because our good friend Deborah Desilets, she is from Tallahassee, and she is working on her PhD, and her dissertation is going to be on AI,
Oh, wow.
and she is starting a project soon called "Keeping the Human in AI."
Wow.
I, I like, I hope she's looking at companies like Anthropic, maybe. They seem to have more of like a human philosophy behind AI.
Anthropic. I might have to keep an eye on that one, but yeah, it's. I mean, it is here. It is the big thing now. Everybody's talking AI. The big companies are putting billions of dollars into it. Uh, on our end, the small or the regular folk community wise, obviously there's many things that we can use. What are maybe three of the apps that you would recommend for the business side first, and then uh, on whatever general use concepts that they may have. So for business people, what do you recommend as far as AI apps?
Well, most apps now include some form of their own AI. It's really hard to escape AI. But as far as AI applications go, I've enjoyed using or find Anthropic's Claude app very useful, and you can create, projects dedicated, like silo each project so there's no overlap. So I may have
Okay.
one dedicated to research or
So
a certain public
it's
relations.
like sectionizing your C drive. You got a folder for this and a folder for that, and they don't cross paths.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's,
Anthropics. Okay.
yeah. So I like that to keep things separate and focus on
Hmm.
specific projects. I also like using Google's Gemini, especially if it's, coming up with instructions for one of Google's products or something like that. But I can tell it a little bit about my clients and say they need to use this for this reason and their skills are here. And so it tailors the instructions to them, which saves me however long to create those instructions manually. So I use them for different things, but I think another app that small business user or owners really should have, and there are free versions of all of these, and then the paid versions, but they're all still pretty affordable. But the third one I would say is Canva, and that's,
Okay.
yeah, and that's a graphic design app, but you can make videos, graphics, like
That's the one I
still
was going to
image.
ask you. I was going to ask you which one, because I want to be able to do that, and I don't have the ability.
I would say
Operational abilities.
definitely
So I was to make a quick short video type of stuff that you can plop into this different site, different social medias on company products, company activities, blah 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 blah. Is it Canva? You recommend one of
yes.
your recommendations?
Yeah, I would say for most use cases, Canva is definitely, and I think the the lowest level, which should get you pretty much everything, is about $10 a month, if paid annually. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's about that. So it's affordable, and um, the app lets you develop your own brand profile. So your logo is available, your colors, your
Right.
fonts. So you can make everything very consistent to your brand.
Uh-huh.
Um, the other one that I also use is the Adobe Creative Cloud,
Okay.
but that's more, they have all sorts of like Photoshop, InDesign, Lightroom, Dreamweaver, like all these apps within that, but their graphic design version of Canva is called Adobe Express. That's also very
Got it.
good. and they have a free version of that. But I think Canva is more for everybody. The Adobe product is tailored, or mostly people that are already using Adobe will use that. But they're both
Entendido.
very good.
Kismet, ¿y tú usas inteligencia artificial, artificial intelligence for those videos that you make for social media? ¿Tú utilizas AI o solo tu
No,
video
no,
programming?
no utilizo la inteligencia artificial para crear mis videos, pero sí la utilizo para obtener ideas. Ujú.
Entendido.
Estoy aprendiendo, pero, por ejemplo, estoy organizando el summer camp que les voy a ofrecer a los niños y yo expuse todas mis ideas de lo que yo quiero realizar para poder hacer un informe y es genial porque tú expones todas tus ideas y te creas una
Te
propuesta.
creo
Sí.
Claro.
el plan.
Entonces, pues es una súper ayuda porque incluso solo le hablas. Yo tengo prisa y siempre estoy, y yo voy de camino al trabajo y tengo todas mis ideas aquí, y le hablo y automáticamente cuando ya llega al trabajo ya tenía un informe preparado.
¿Y cuál usas? ¿Cuál utilizas? ¿A cuál te estás refiriendo de aplicación? ¿Cuál AI?
La regular,
¿De Google o ChatGPT?
el ChatGPT.
Ah,
Ujú.
entendido. Perfecto. Excelente. Sí, sí, sí. Well, AI is the present and is the future from what everybody says, and I think it's true. And I hope we can control it so the human is still kept in AI, like my friend Deborah Desolet said. Let's close it out with a let's close it out real quick, Christy. Tell us a little bit briefly, if you don't mind, about your nonprofit philanthropic work, which is, I
Ah,
think, one of the best things that any business can do. All businesses, small businesses, middle businesses, and large businesses. The large ones know it. They got it. They get it. You must be involved with your community. You must have some philanthropic service related work that you can help others with. And I know you do. Tell us a little bit about that real quick and anything that may be coming up with those projects that you're working with or those
yes.
nonprofits.
No, thank you for bringing that up. The main nonprofit that I work with, like I used to be on the board and I'm still like a dedicated volunteer, but it's Dog Harmony, based in Miramar Beach. But the idea is to provide humane education and utilize therapy dog programs to
Oh,
strengthen the
wow.
bond between dogs and humans and prevent the dogs from going to the shelters in the first place. So keeping the dogs in the homes is one. This past year, because of the economic conditions, they started a paw pantry program. So it's a partnership with Caring and Sharing of South Walton. But in addition to the food for families that Caring and Sharing provides and other necessities, we also collect dog food donations and other supplies for the dogs. So the dogs can stay with the families and they're not forced to decide between feeding themselves or the dog. But the dog that I rescued 9 years ago is a brown dog named Chloe. She's a pity mix. But we
Chloe?
got yeah, Chloe. She came with that name. But she is a therapy dog. We got certified about 3 or so years ago, I think. And so we participate in children's programs to teach children about canine body language and how to interact safely with them. And I think the next step that and we've taken a brief break, but for about 2 or so years, we've been visiting the physical therapy rehab center in Destin with HCA Florida. Chloe likes to think she's helping the patients work out in the gym. But she had a little bit of an accident with her leg, and so she's healing. So right now we're doing low key activities, but I think our next step will be to get certified as a reading dog. And so this is the other program that Dog Harmony does, but they bring therapy dogs that are reading certified to schools and libraries to help children with literacy.
Oh,
Wow.
wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. We have to talk
Great.
to you about that one if you guys if you decide to do that, because we are
Definitely.
involved with some projects with the English language learners program in the schools of Okaloosa County, and we got some things that are developing to continue trying to help that audience of the parents and students within the English language learners program, ESOL, English Second
Yep.
Language program in Okaloosa County, and we're brainstorming about what type of things we can come up with to help those kids learn.
Definitely the program is called Reading Pause, but it's dogs, like it's more training for the humans, but the dogs have to have the right temperament after they've been evaluated as therapy dogs. But Dog Harmony works with libraries and schools from Okaloosa to Walton County. And so any of these nonprofits or educational systems that you're working with, those dogs would be perfect for, to just comfort the kids and let them read to them.
Yeah, it's great combination.
Wonderful, wonderful. Real
Yeah.
quick, Christy, if you don't mind, tell us how people can get a hold of you that need services such as web services and or marketing and digital marketing or strategic type of services that you provide with Elevate Next. While you are doing that, I'm going to show your website. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about the companies, how to get a hold of you, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, you can reach me at elevate-next.com. And we're also active on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky. Blue Sky is another experiment we're venturing into. But anywhere that you can find us online, and we have a Google business profile as well, we'll be there. And yes, we'd love to help you. We offer complimentary initial consultations. And so it's just to learn about you and your business. And we, at the end of the consultation, will develop and deliver a proposal that's customized to you and your goals, whether or not that's a new website entirely or an update of your existing website. We'll perform an audit of kind of your overall online presence, and provide recommendations to you.
Yeah,
And
so
so
I'm
we're,
showing your website. I'm showing your website right now, elevate-next.com. You get all
yes.
the different products or different services listed there. Some of the wonderful articles that you write, which are great. We're glad to have them in Conexión
Thank you.
and all the other good things that you have there in your website in addition to other articles. And I love that logo right there,
Yes,
Conexión Media Group.
I know.
We're really
I
thankful to
I
be a
just
partner with
added
you.
that.
No sweat. We love it because it is great to always have great partnerships with people like you that are doing some wonderful things there to help, obviously, to serve the business community, and
Well,
more
thank
importantly,
you.
also your participation in philanthropy, which we love to support. Here's your Facebook page. Let's see. Am I in the right one there, Christy? I'm not sure. Is that the
Um,
right one? Let's see. Elevate Next. I had it, but
yes.
let me go to it real quick.
Mm,
So they can also find you, obviously,
on
in
Facebook.
Facebook, and the other social media sites that you may have, obviously, are include what? Just the name of a social media site?
Yes, Elevate Next, but we're on Instagram and LinkedIn. So you can find us there. And I will also mention, if you do want to stay in touch, we have a monthly newsletter called Elevated News. But it
Yes.
highlights what's going on in our local communities with our clients. What's going on locally here on the Emerald Coast, but also provides kind of exclusive business tips and marketing strategies that are just delivered to your mailbox every month.
And they can
So
sign up for your
Right.
newsletter through your website, correct? And Facebook page?
yes, so that blue bar at the top that says join the elevated news
Ah,
experience.
yes, I see it right here. When we click
Yes.
that,
Mhm.
there
Hmm.
we go. People put in your address, their address information and email, and then they are now receiving your newsletter right after that, right?
Yes, so that's an excellent way of keeping in touch. And that's also for small business owners, it's a really inexpensive way of making sure you're reaching your customers and your audience is an email newsletter. So in
Wonderful.
addition to social media and everything, but that's like gold. basically.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Christy, for being with us on this Saturday morning. And we appreciate your support by collaborating with Conexión and the wonderful articles that you write. And more importantly, obviously, the services you provide with your company. We would love to help you reach out some of our friends and customers. Obviously, we'll pass the word out on what you do with Elevate Next. And habla español, ladies and gentlemen. La señora habla
Sí,
español, así es
sí.
que usted si tiene una empresa latina que quiere un servicio de marketing o de mercadeo, estrategia, de páginas web, Christy habla español, es latina.
Sí.
Así es.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias, David y Kismet.
Gracias
Ha
a ti,
sido un
Kismet.
placer.
Un último comentario, Kismet, para cerramos este segmento.
Me
Ciérralo.
encantó, Cristi, todo tu experiencia, ¿verdad? Y tus consejos, incluso de los apps como Canva, estoy muy de acuerdo. Así que usted siga todos estos consejos de Cristi y también siga su página en Facebook y sus plataformas en la red social como Elevate Next para que lleves al próximo nivel con Cristi.
Muchas
Exacto.
gracias, Kismet.
De nada.
Bueno, volvemos en un minuto. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Monster Jam. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers and see the trucks up close. Get your pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Coming to Pensacola Bay Center July 25th and 26th.
We have a lot of events coming up because it's summertime, el verano ya llegó, muchos eventos en toda la región. Aquí está nuestra sección de qué pasa en la región. Ahorita que terminemos aquí les vamos a enseñar algunos de los flyers, de los volantes, de los diferentes eventos que están sucediendo. Pero Kismet, gracias por tu invitación, bueno, por la invitación de Silvia Scultetti y el grupo de Hispanic American Business Association que acaban de tener el evento anual. Exacto, y ese eventazo estuvo buenísimo, fue el lanzamiento de la nueva bueno, no nueva, sino que la nueva estatus de la asociación, que ahora son una 501c3, 51c3, Hispanic American Business Association, se llama la asociación. Cuéntanos un poquito cómo te fue, cómo estuvo el evento. No, a mí me encantó.
Definitivamente, qué bonito es ver la integración, ¿verdad? De los diferentes líderes, personas comunitarias, los comercios, ¿verdad? Unirse para apoyarnos mutuamente, muy importante, destacando que ahora tienen una nueva página web en la cual tú puedes hacer membresía,
Voy a entrar a la
ofrecen.
página mientras estás hablando. Sigue hablando porque quiero enseñar la página para que la gente la mire.
Claro, claro que sí. Usted puede ser miembro de la página de Java. Hay varias cositas que usted puede ver ahora en la página que David Triana nos está mostrando. Además, Java es la identidad que crea el Móvil Latin Fest, que este año es su año número 6, en el cual le da la oportunidad a las personas de poder separar un espacio para ser vendedor, ¿verdad? O ser parte del entretenimiento, del voluntariado y todo este dinero que se recauda en este gran festival vuelve a la comunidad con las becas que se le brindan a los estudiantes hispanos. Este año ya tenemos 11 estudiantes registrados, ¿verdad? Tienen que entregar cierta información, un video que está estudiando y Java le brinda entre 500 a $1,500 a estos estudiantes para poder ayudarlos con los costos en la universidad. Así que todo lo que se recauda en este festival va de regreso a la comunidad y ahora mismo pues Java tiene su propia oficina, ya tiene su website en el cual puedes obtener mucha información de qué es lo que está pasando y qué es lo que se está realizando aquí en Mobile, Alabama. Y disfrutamos comida
Exacto.
rica de Venezuela, música, conexión.
Y estamos mostrando la página, como les digo, javaus.org. Te dice todo acerca de la fundación, de la organización. la misión, la visión y todo. Estamos a todos los latinos de Mobile especialmente y los alrededores de Alabama que se unan como miembros, pero también te puedes unir como miembro desde otras ciudades. De acá nosotros también nos vamos a unir aquí en el próximo futuro para la membresía y apoyar los grandes proyectos que tiene la fundación basada en Mobile, pero haciendo efecto positivo en toda la región. Aquí están los membership plans para los que quieren ser miembros. Kismet acaba de hablar de las becas, de los scholarship program. La página también está en español. Así es que no te preocupes de no entenderlo porque está en español y en inglés. Y aquí está el gran Latin Fest 2026 que será en octubre 10, según lo que dice aquí Kismet, ¿correcto?
Sábado, octubre 10, así que ya separa tu calendario para que seas parte de este gran festival, uno de los festivales más concurridos en la costa del Golfo. Eso es mucha
Claro, aquí está toda la
diversión.
información de los eventos. Una de las cosas que yo quiero recalcar, y es algo bien importante, yo personalmente hablando, si no te gusta lo que digo, pues ni modo. ¿Ok? Hay tiempo para todo, hermanos. ¿Ok? Hay tiempo para divertirse, hay tiempo para dormir, hay tiempo para no sé qué, y hay tiempo para ayudar,
Definitivo.
si lo quieres hacer. Aquí está la misión de la fundación. Empower, Advance and Connect Hispanic Professionals and Businesses y todo lo que más se dice. En español te lo pongo también. ¿Qué quiero decir? Para todo hay tiempo, hermanos, y hay que apoyar tanto la pachanga, el festival de ellos, el festival latino de nuestra amiga Mercedes, que viene el 3 de octubre aquí en Fort Walton Beach, los festivales de la costa latina en en Pensacola y no sé qué más. Definitivo, vámonos a divertirnos porque para todo hay tiempo. Pero Dios mío, queremos también inculcarles a todos ustedes que nos están viendo. Participen en las cosas que tienen aún más importancia que cualquier fiesta, porque las fiestas son importantes, la cultura, la música, la comida. Pero estas misiones como la que ustedes están viendo aquí, estas son partes de la legacía que usted como empresario como líder hispano, como fundación en esto, estamos hablando de Hispanic American Business Association. Ellos están trabajando para mejorar el futuro de jóvenes, el
Definitivo.
futuro de empresas, el futuro de las cosas que aún son más importantes porque son como uno vive, como uno sobrevive. Entonces hay que apoyar este tipo de organización. No sé si tú estás de acuerdo o no. Esa es mi opinión.
No, definitivamente es algo que se unen diferentes líderes comunitarios, que es el tiempo de cada uno voluntariamente en muchas ocasiones y es para dejar un legado a ustedes, comunidad que me escucha, un legado a tus hijos, un legado a tus familiares, a marcar la diferencia de que todos somos hábiles, de que tenemos sumamente talentos, ¿verdad? Y que podemos hacer una diferencia si todos nos unimos. Somos más fuertes y eso es un lema
Definitivo.
que debe de tener poder cada día. Si te unes y te unes con líderes, vas a pensar como un líder. Si se unen los líderes y siembran, vamos a encontrar la cosecha en los jóvenes que están creciendo hoy en día. O si tú eres un joven y quieres ser parte, mira, puedes integrarte
Eso.
también porque ya a veces nosotros ya mismo nos retiramos, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Y
ya estamos
puedes,
viejitos nosotros, que
y
vengan los jóvenes.
tú puedes dejar tu legado y las ideas nuevas que tú tengas.
Claro,
Entonces, en la unión está la fuerza. Contáctese si usted quiere ser parte de una identidad como esta, usted quiere ser parte de Making Connection, llevar la información y marcar la diferencia, además de seguirnos y suscribirse, también únase para que esté aquí con
exacto.
nosotros.
Definitivo, definitivo. Entonces, el punto también, obviamente, hay eventos por toda la región, hay que apoyarlos, hay que apoyar los eventos, hay que apoyar las
Definitivo.
fundaciones, hay que apoyar los productos y hay que apoyar al empresario latino también, hermanos, ¿ok? Porque estamos batallando, la gente está batallando en sus negocios y todo eso. Vaya, si va a ir a comer, vaya al restaurante latino primero.
Definitivo.
Si necesita unos chilitos jalapeños, en vez de yo ir a Piggly Wiggly, yo voy a ir a mi tienda Little Jalisco a comprárselo a él, porque él también lo tiene.
Claro.
ahí se lo voy a comprar. Entonces hay que pensar en esas cosas porque nuestra gente está batallando a nivel general, pero el empresario muchísimo más. Y ellos tienen un riesgo financiero, un riesgo familiar, porque muchos de esos negocios son como sobrevive la gente. Entonces apoye el empresario latino primero, si es, si
Local.
puede, y segundo, todo lo demás por los próximos 2 años de por menos.
Definitivamente. Bueno, y
Bueno,
además entre las
estamos en el segmento de eventos. ¿Qué
ta,
pasa en
ta, ta,
nuestra
ta.
región? Vamos a pararle ahí y ahí vienen los eventos en los volantes y nos vemos en un minuto.
Bye bye.
Well, as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. So we reached the end of our YouTube Making Connections interview show. We had a great interview with Christy Solomon of Elevate Next Corporate Company. She does wonderful work in web design, marketing, and strategy. And she is bilingual, habla español, tiene mucha historia. Bueno, personalmente, familiarmente hablando y también de haber vivido en nuestros países latinos. ¿Qué te pareció nuestra entrevista con Christy?
Me encantó, aprendí mucho de diferentes estrategias de mercadeo. También nos sugirió ciertas paginitas que tú también puedes utilizar, así que no te pierdas esta entrevista y las próximas entrevistas que vamos a tener aquí en Making Connection. Así que suscríbete a este canal para que tú estés al día de todo lo que está pasando y cómo tú puedes aprender de estos líderes comunitarios que tenemos alrededor de la costa del Golfo.
Exactamente. And make sure that you share our channel, our Conexión channel. First of all, subscribe and like, and then share it to your network, to your friends, to your family, to your associates, because we want to expand the reach of making connections. Because, we want to get information out there that's interesting, people that are doing some great things and all of that. So we want to make sure that you help us get the word out, ¿verdad? Entonces, danos el empuje en redes sociales.
Comparte.
Diles, ¿qué tienen que hacer?
Compartir esta página de YouTube channel para que otras personas también puedan ver este contenido tan interesante que tenemos aquí. Y también, mira, sigue la página del periódico virtualmente que mensualmente tiene diferentes artículos de finanzas, cuáles son los negocios locales, el consejito, los entretenimientos y mucho más. Así que síguenos a través de las diferentes plataformas sociales para que estés al tanto de qué es lo que está pasando a través de Connection Media Group.
Exactamente. Y a ti, Kismet Meléndez, influencer desde Mobile, ¿dónde te pueden seguir?
Claro, me puedes seguir a través de Facebook, TikTok, Instagram y también YouTube channel como Kismet Meléndez para que sepa qué es lo que está pasando aquí, qué es lo que está pasando allá.
Y estrellitas para ti.
Y estrellita para ti.
Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros, Kismet. Excelente trabajo, como siempre. Esperamos vernos en el próximo futuro otra vez, que vaya yo a Mobile o tú bajes para acá, como sea,
Claro
ahí
que
nos
sí.
vemos, ¿no?
Claro
Que
que
traje a
sí.
toda la familia y vámonos a divertir, ¿ok? Thank you very much for watching us in Making Connections. See you next time. God bless you. May God protect you and continued success. Mucho éxito y que Dios les
See
bendiga.
you. Start with you.